Hey friends, did you hear the big news this past week? Legendary Poi spinner Ivan Gorbunov released a comprehensive document detailing his thoughts on body tracers. He's apparently spent years compiling it. You'd be forgiven if you hadn't read it yet, because it is pretty comprehensive and long. But I have read it, and I want to share with you both what the document says, as well as how you can use it to apply to your own spinning. Drex here from DrexFactor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And in this video, I am diving into Mel's framework for talking about body tracers, and I guarantee you we're going to have a few surprises along the way. But before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Fire Mecha, Flow Toys, Pyroterra Light Toys, and Ultra Poi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all of these amazing companies and the work they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links down in the description of this video. So if you are familiar with Mel's work at all, then you probably know that body tracers are a particular interest of his. Whether it goes back to his days doing the Red Pants videos or his more recent work on Instagram, body tracers are something he's kind of specialized in over the years. I actually haven't seen a work of poi theory this deep and this comprehensive in more than a decade. And that makes it all the more fun to be able to dive in and see both what it brings together and explains, as well as what it predicts that we haven't played with yet. So what I'm going to try and do in this video is I'm going to try and do a little bit of work of decoding this document, both because I think it's easier to understand some of the principles when you see them in motion, as well as the fact that a lot of them get simplified to glyphs that I think can get a little confusing. But before we dive in, it does need to be said, as Mel himself states in the introduction to his document, this approach to body tracing is really similar to something that Leo Icaza came up with more than a decade ago. They share the same basic axioms, although Mel's approach goes a little bit deeper. We'll go a little bit more into that in the course of this, but I do just want to make sure that we give both Mel and Leo their flowers here. So without further ado, here are the major ideas present in Mel's paper. Principle number 1, reels. So if you take absolutely nothing else away from this video, it should be this. According to both Mel and Leo, the most basic unit of performing any body tracer is a reel. And this right here is a reel. It's just passing the poi back and forth across our body as we spin it. A lot of us come across this very early on in our flow journey, whether we're using it to learn 2-beat weaves or 3-beat weaves. And also, it is something that a lot of us just instinctually do anytime we pick up something that's flexible that has a weight on the end of it. I've taught the concept myself under the name tic-tacs. I've heard other people use the term 2-beats. It's basically just passing the poi back and forth across our body as we're spinning it. Now the thing is, for both Leo and Mel's approach, we want to make sure that we are spinning the poi not in wheel plane, like we did when we usually first learn this, but over in wall plane. Now the poi is passing back and forth in front of and behind us, as opposed to from our left side to our right side. And of course, once you have the poi spinning in that basic reel, the question becomes, where exactly around your body do you take it? A lot of the time, we have that reel going out far away from the body. Sometimes it's just with our elbow bent. We can also do it up next to our ear in something called a shoulder reel, or down next to our hip in something called a hip reel. And wouldn't you just know it, the location of where those reels can be performed is really the big idea behind all of this. Principle number 2, body zones. When we talk about what positions around the body we're going to perform these reels in, Mel simplifies it down to 4 points. Technically 6, but 2 of them are more or less repeats of another 2 points, just with the hand in a different position. Let me explain. You can think of the body, your entire body, as being stretched out like a cross. And because of that, there wind up being 4 points in the negative space around it. There's one over here above my right shoulder, above my left shoulder, below my left shoulder, and below my right shoulder. As we talk about these positions, we use a bit of jargon called native or non-native. Basically, native just means whichever part of the body is closest to the hand that's spinning the poi, and non-native means the side of the body that's farthest away from it. So, for example, as I'm spinning with my right hand here, I would think of spinning above my right shoulder as being the native shoulder. If I'm spinning next to my right hip, I'm spinning at the native hip. Again, right hand to right hip. If, on the other hand, I'm spinning my hand over at my left hip, this is the non-native hip, because I have to cross my hand over and reach for the hip that is furthest away. Likewise, I can spin above my non-native shoulder, which would be my left shoulder. So think Native is the same side. Non-native is the opposite side. And of course, there's a specialized version of the non-native side. Namely, I can think of wrapping my hand around in front of my body to reach that non-native hip, or I can think of wrapping my hand around behind my back to reach that non-native hip. Mel refers to these as being back shoulder and back hip, but basically you can just think of it as being a specialized case of the non-native working. Mel uses a specialized set of glyphs to denote all of these different positions. If we go back to that cross that we started with, that is a simplification of the human body, we can put a 0 or an O in different positions to denote when we're doing a native side reel, a plus in different positions to denote when we're doing a non-native side reel, and a minus in different positions to denote when we're doing a behind the back reel. So here are all 6 positions that Mel identifies. There's native shoulder and native hip. There's non-native shoulder and non-native hip. And there's back shoulder and back hip. So thus far in breaking this framework down, we've talked only about what one hand is doing. But what about when we combine 2 hands together? Well, that brings us to principle number 3, mills, crossers, and weaves, oh my. Clearly, Poi most often is spun with 2 objects, 1 in each hand. So what happens when we start combining these reels together? Well, we wind up with some stuff that actually is going to look very, very familiar, but you may not have thought of it in the context of either body tracing or reels. For example, this right here is a move that we usually refer to as a windmill. But a funny thing happens if I take one hand out of it. If I do that, all of a sudden, it's pretty easy to spot that really it's just each hand performing its own native side shoulder reel. And in fact, the way this could easily be denoted in Mel's glyphs is to simply have that plus sign that denotes the body and a 0 or an O above each shoulder. We can also do a watermill a little bit lower down, and now it's going to be a plus sign with a 0 beneath each of those sides of the plus sign. But this framework covers far more than just windmills and watermills, because as it turns out, we can play around with these reels in a lot of different timing and direction modes, as well as a lot of different positions around the body. For example, I could perform these split time same direction reels and reach each hand across to the non-native shoulder. We usually refer to this as a crosser. And of course, there's a version of the crosser that happens when I have the poi spinning in together opposites as well. I can also perform my reels in together opposites down around my hips in a hip reel. I know this has other names, but I don't know them off the top of my head. And of course, we have access to points where both of the hands are above the same shoulder. So for example, if I were to do a version of one of these reels wherein I have both of my hands over my right shoulder with a 0 and a plus, well, guess what? It turns into a 2 beat that I'm performing above that shoulder. So it turns out there are a bunch of different combinations of these reels that we can do in all of these different locations around the body. We can mix and match them, we can expand to see what are all the different places that each hand can be in relation to each other, and we can work on all of them in different timing and direction modes too. But there's also something kind of funky that happens if you dig a little deeper. So let me take you back to that watermill that we were playing around with just a little while ago, and I'm going to turn sideways relative to you. You might notice something kind of funky about the movements of my hands here, namely that they kind of have this offset pattern where they're like a quarter beat off of each other, almost like they're chasing each other back and forth, right? I can also perform this in such a way that they're both reaching on the same side of my body at the same time. Basically, there are different phasings by which I can go between these different reels here. And it turns out that there are multiple ways to do this in multiple timing and direction modes too. Principle number 4, beat graphs. So as it turns out, when it comes to timing, we're not just talking about the timing of the 2 poi relative to each other, but also the timing of the hands as they're moving back and forth across our body. Because remember, each and every one of these body tracers is made up of reels that pass the poi back and forth behind and in front of us. Turns out there's some detail in how exactly they go back and forth like that in relation to each other. Mel uses something called a beat graph to denote the movement of the hand and poi as they go across the body in the course of one of these reels. He keeps track of time on a vertical axis, and he keeps track of movement in space on a horizontal axis. He keeps track of both the top beat and the bottom beat of the poi as it spins around through the reel. So as he graphs this out, what we wind up seeing is we get both a bottom beat and a top beat on one side of the body, and a bottom beat and a top beat on the other side of the body. Essentially, as the graph goes on, we see the line that the poi is traveling in go back and forth across, and the line going on a diagonal diagonal across to denote when the poi itself is going across the body in a cross point. Now, what gets interesting about this is when we start using this graph and keeping track of each hand on it, a number of different patterns emerges for how we can do these reels in relation to each other. Those timings are unison timing, wherein the poi and hands are on the same side of the body at the same time. They both perform a cross point at exactly the same time, going back and forth from the front to the back of the body, and the hands and poi are on the same side of the body at the same time. Chase timing, wherein one of the poi and hands is kind of leading the other. We see this most often in tricks wherein we have the poi spinning in a split timing, and it involves having the hands offset by about a quarter beat between each other. This is most commonly what we see in things like watermills and windmills. Finally, we have counter timing, in which the poi and hands are always at opposite sides of the body. They may have cross points at the same time, but they're always going to the opposite place. And just to make things extra confusing, the timing that we find in beat graphs doesn't have direct correlations with the timing of the poi themselves. You can have the poi spinning in split time and have access both to a unison timing as well as a chase timing. It all depends on what the specific properties are for that timing and direction mode for the poi and how that graphs onto those beat graphs. Okay, so we have explored our reels, we have explored their positions around the body, and we have explored what their timing can be in relation to each other. Now we need to explore what happens when the hands move back and forth between those different positions. Principle number 5, wraps. So wraps are definitely the point at which we're getting into territory that we would all recognize as body tracing and not just the fundamental concepts behind it. When we're performing wraps, we're actually moving our hands back and forth between these different positions. A funny thing happens when we take a reel on one side of the body and take it to the other side of the body. Namely, as I'm going back and forth between this native side hip reel and the non-native side hip reel, I'm doing a thing where I'm wrapping the poi completely around my body, back and front, as I go back and forth across 3 beats here. Mel refers to this as a wrap, and in fact, we can wrap all the way around the body multiple times. It just depends on where we want to stick in the cross points that carry us back and forth. The classic example of this is what we refer to as a waist wrap, although because we're working inside of reels here, we're keeping this waist wrap to just being 2 beat weaves on each side of the body. Nevertheless, this still counts as a waist wrap even if we're not doing a full 3 beat. Just so happens to be that we're using 2 beats to get around instead. Performing a waist wrap, though, only takes this concept across the body horizontally. We can also take the concept across our body vertically, too. In fact, the age-old tuck turn is an example of this in action, and one that I've always been a huge fan of. So are there examples of poi moves that involve both horizontal wraps as well as vertical wraps? As it turns out, yes, and this one was news to me. So there turns out to be a poi move called Icaza that I had never heard of before reading this document that involves performing a poi meltdown up near the shoulders as well as down by the hips and passing back and forth between the two. Really cool looking move, and it's a great extension of this concept of wraps. So I will admit that this is the section that I'm going to flesh out the least simply because I think there's more to be gained by reading Mel's original document, and now that you have a lot of the tools to be able to understand it, I'm hoping that you're going to be able to get more out of it too. So I'm going to highly recommend you do that, and I'm going to link to Mel's socials as well as the original document itself down in the description so you can go check it out for yourself. But if you would like a more hands-on guide through all of the different body tracers and reel patterns that Mel has in his document, as well as the frameworks of Leo Icaza and another framework that's very similar but extends the concepts a little bit further by Cryptic Firecat, I'm going to be teaching a live stream class on applied body tracing that starts up on May 26th. I can go ahead and link to that down in the description as well as up in the cards. You can go visit it at crowdcast.io/c/applied-body-tracers. Please join me for this class because it's going to be a lot of fun and I know you're going to learn a lot. So big thanks to Mel for putting together that amazing document, and of course to Leo for carving out many of the same concepts. I hope you enjoy reading it, and I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you understand what's in that document a little bit more. What did you think of Mel's body tracing framework? Leave me a comment and let me know. Also be sure to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe to help my channel grow and to help other people find this video. This video would not be possible without my amazing supporters on Patreon. In particular, I'd love to give a huge shout out to my Flow patrons who are listed on screen right now. Thank you so much for your very generous support. If you out there watching would like to get your name in the credits or access to a host of other awesome rewards, you can do that by checking out my Patreon over at patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi. I will leave a link to that down in the description as well as up in the cards. Please help me out in my mission to bring poi spinning and flow arts to the whole wide world. Thank you in advance. And if you'd like to learn more about Leo Icaza and his system for body tracing, I did an entire video giving him his flowers and talking about how he's one of the great lost hidden figures of the poi world. I'll go ahead and link to that video up here on screen as well as down in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to go out and flow yourselves today, and I'll see you with a new video real soon. Take care now. Peace.